Okay, something amazing has happened today. It's above freezing here. So today the weather conditions are safe enough where we can actually go outside and try catching some Pokemon, so we're gonna do that. Since the past 2 weeks in Northeast Ohio and in the Northeast in general have been absolutely freezing, I figured it was a good episode to do. So we've got one day where it's not below freezing, which is gonna be great. But we just had 2 incredibly cold weeks, and we're about to have another where temperatures drop below freezing again. So I figured now's a good time to make the episode and show what kind of things you can't do when it's cold out in Pokemon Go. So while it's still nice out, let's go out and catch some Pokemon. Okay, so it's been raining in game for close to an hour, but it just started actually raining here, but that's not going to stop me from going out and trying to find some things. And the first thing I want to talk about as far as gameplay mechanics that are affected by cold weather is walking around. The main point of Pokemon Go is to walk around and find Pokemon in the real world. And it's harder to do that when, if you're outside for more than an hour, you get frostbite. And while it's tempting to run outside if you see something on the nearby radar, it's hard to do that when, if you go outside for too long, it hurts your body physically. You can feel the cold hurting your fingers, your arms, your face, your ears. So that's definitely been one of the hardest things to do in Pokemon Go when it's cold out, is to just walk around. And obviously that affects eggs, because you need to walk a certain distance to hatch eggs. So since it's been so cold up in Ohio for the past couple weeks, it's been really hard to hatch any eggs. The only way I've really been able to do that is to just leave the game on when I'm driving and hope that I get a couple kilometers when I'm going slower at stoplights. But otherwise, there hasn't really been a good way to hatch eggs when it's cold out. Even if you bundle up and wear multiple layers and you're prepared for the cold, you just can't stay outside as long as if it was 70 and sunny. The second thing that's been really affected by cold weather has been gyms. So you can see this Team Mystic gym over here. It's right by a road. You can get to it pretty easily. Just park your car, you can battle at it, you can raid it, you can get the Pokestop. I'm going to show you what it takes to get to this gym here. Notice we are already on a trail, so you can't get to it with a car. Now, let me show you how to get to the actual gym off the trail. So to get to this gym, not only do you have to walk on the towpath in the cold weather, but you also have to walk through the backwoods in cold weather. Most of the snow is melted because it's been 40, 50 degrees the past day, but if there's a lot of snow on the ground, it's hard to get to this gym. So obviously I'm going to put someone in this gym since the turnover rate right now is going to be really low. And that's the big thing that's affecting gyms in cold weather. The turnover rate is low. This other person's Blissey, 2 days. It'll probably still be there tomorrow. So turnover rate is going to be abysmal in cold weather, especially for gyms that you can't get to via a road or a parking lot. So if you want coins out of gyms, you're going to have to either hit up a lot of them or hit up ones that are in high traffic routes. So raid turnout is definitely going to be lower when it's cold outside. However, I wouldn't really attribute that to gym location. The real reason people don't turn out for raids in colder weather, in my opinion, is motivation. It's just colder out. People don't know if everyone's going to be there, so people just aren't going to go out and play as much because they have to get in their car, they have to drive around, they have to find somewhere to park to do the raid, and then if their GPS takes them away from the gym, then they have to get out of their car and stand by the gym until the raid starts. So it's just adding an extra layer of complexity and pain if it's below zero to a process that's relatively easy in warm weather. Okay, since we have decent weather out, I'm going to try out AR+. I've only tried it a couple times since it's hard to do it indoors or in a car. So let's see if this feel Awesome. All right, we got this feel. I looked like a complete moron doing that, but it's okay. Got an extra 25 Stardust. And he's getting sent to the meat grinder. And so I guess that's a good transition into the fourth point that I have regarding gameplay in winter. Catching Pokemon is a lot harder. So apologies for the wind noise, it's probably awful right now. But I'm gonna walk through that park and show how many Pokemon I wouldn't be able to catch if I was limited to being in a car. And yes, you don't have to be out for very long, but I think that makes the game less fun, knowing that you can only be out for 20 minutes before you have to go inside. So I'm gonna say that these three here you could probably see from the parking lot behind me. But let's see how many other ones come up that we wouldn't be able to get to if we were limited to being in a car. The final thing that I think is affected by cold weather are Pokestops. Unless you got out of your car and you had appropriate clothing to keep yourself warm, you couldn't access these stops. They're too far from the parking lot. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 stops and a gym that you cannot access from the road. So you have to be prepared to play this game, and you can only play for a short amount of time if you're going outside when it's cold out. And I think that takes a lot away from the game if you're limited by weather. Okay, so those weren't the best examples of stuff that you're missing out on in cold weather when you can't go to a park. But like I showed in my Machamp raid that I did the other night, there's a Savoi. That's a regional exclusive that just transferred over. We don't know how long those are going to be here. And I don't know if I could have gotten to that if I hadn't been outside in the cold weather. So not only would I have missed that Machamp, but I might have missed the Savoi as well. That's a big gamble to take. So from my experience, those are all the gameplay mechanics that are affected by cold weather. It's harder to catch Pokemon, it's harder to get Pokestops, people don't show up for raids as much, it's hard to get to gyms, and it's hard to hatch eggs. All those things are limited by cold weather. That's basically the entire game. However, I'm not saying that if you don't live in Florida, there's no point in playing the game in the winter. Obviously, there are things that you can do to make it easier to play the game when it's cold outside and you can't be outside for very long. So I'm gonna walk to Starbucks and get myself some coffee. And once I have that, there's a couple things I want to share that I think might make it easier to play the game in winter, and things that you can try to help get yourself and the community more involved when it's hard to play the game due to weather.
A few moments later.
This is happening. Okay. Just another perfectly normal day, nothing weird about that. Okay, so we are at the park across the street from Starbucks, and we are out here because it's a Totodile nest. Nests rotated last night around 8 p.m., so we are hopefully going to get a good amount of Totodile candies out here today. Now, as far as ways that you can still play Pokemon Go in cold weather, the first temporary fix to the problem of cold weather is, bundling up and wearing multiple layers, wearing a jacket and a hoodie, and just keeping yourself warm when you go out to play. It's a decent way to be able to go out into parks, away from parking lots, away from roads, and try to find Pokemon. However, you can't stay outside for very long. I cannot stress that enough. Even if you're wearing multiple jackets, snow pants, thermals, gloves, hat, you still cannot stay outside for very long if it's below a certain temperature. No matter how much you're wearing, you do need to go inside at some point so you don't freeze to death. Also, some people use styluses to throw curveballs when they're wearing gloves. I personally have not tried that, so I cannot attest to how well it works, but I know that it is very hard to throw curveballs even if you have gloves that allow you to use a phone. So I don't really think that bundling up is the best way to play the game. It's just a way to go outside for a little bit and try to find some Pokemon in an area that you know there will be Pokemon. All right, we've got a Totodile. Let's turn on AR+, see where this guy pops up. I want to get this guy. Hey, how's it going? There we go. Check the IVs on him. Not great. All right. At least we got the candy. So the second, I guess you could call it, remedy for playing Pokemon Go in cold weather is to drive around and play instead of walking around. You're not going to be able to hatch eggs, you're not going to find as many Pokemon, and you're not going to be able to hit as many Pokestops because of speed limits. No Pokemon spawn above 30 miles an hour about, and you stop getting egg distance around 10 miles an hour, and Pokestops you can't spin if you're going over a certain speed. But out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 gyms you see on screen right now, all but 2 of them are accessible by parking lot. You can park essentially right next to where the gym is and do a raid or battle. It is harder to get to a gym because you have to make sure your car has gas in it. You have to drive there. You have to get through traffic. You have to find somewhere to park. And you have to get there by the time that a group is starting a raid. But it is technically possible. It's a lot harder than walking outside and walking over to a gym, but it is definitely still doable. So if you're okay with not getting egg distance, not catching as many Pokemon, and not getting as many Pokestops in the winter, driving is a decent solution. You can still get to gyms, and you can still do raids. Not the ideal solution, obviously, but as long as you have a group that's willing to go outside in cold weather and do raids or battle gyms, you can still participate in the game and you can still get Groudon or whatever legendary raid is out and about. The third piece of advice I have for playing Pokemon Go in winter isn't a way to play the game and keep yourself warm. It's a loud-ass truck. Really, the way to keep yourself motivated to go play is to keep yourself involved. While you can't go walking through parks for hours trying to catch all the spawns at a new nest, you can get your daily streaks. You can still spin a Pokestop every day and you can still catch one Pokemon every day. That's going to keep your bonus streaks and that's going to keep you interested in the game. Also, if you're not involved in a group chat in your city, then I definitely recommend finding one and joining one. It'll let you know when people are trying to do legendary raids or tier 4 raids. And if you leave notifications on in the group chat, it's sort of annoying, but it is a reminder every time someone sends a message that people are interested in the game, people want to play the game, and that there is a reason to play, to be involved in that community. So it is harder to do raids because people aren't as motivated. It is harder to get to gyms because if they're not connected to a road, it's going to be incredibly cold and painful to try and get to it. You're not going to catch as many Pokemon because you're limited to roads and parking lots. You're not going to get as many Pokestops if those Pokestops aren't connected to roads or parking lots. And you're not going to hatch eggs because you don't have the ability to go outside when it's freezing and the wind chill is 10 degrees below zero. But you can still play if you bundle up and go out for short periods of time, if you're able to drive around and go to gyms and raids in a car, and if you stay motivated by getting your streaks and getting involved in a group chat. Having that community is essential to staying motivated in this game. And if you're not in one, I definitely recommend, even if you're not very social, it's definitely a huge bonus to just know when people are doing raids, because you do need more than one person to do a raid. Like Cloyster. Can I solo a Cloyster? So I guess we are going to try to solo this Cloyster right now after I catch this Weedle. So hopefully we can do that. I've never tried soloing a Cloyster before, so we'll see how this goes. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Oh man, it's gonna be close. I want my Raikous back. Come on, come on, come on, load. Ah, no. That's not what I wanted. You're the worst. I'm not gonna get it. Well, let's give up and try again. Okay, I can technically do it, but my DPS has fallen off, so I don't know if I can. I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm right on the edge. I'm gonna feint out. And a crash. Okay, it's not happening. That's disappointing. Since there's really nothing else going on around here, I'm probably just gonna call it a day. Oh, wait. We got 2 totodiles and a wild venomoth. So we're gonna put the camera down and try and catch all those. There we go. And then just for the sake of it, let's try one more AR plus today. I'm out of frame. Look at this guy. Boop. I think with that, I'm just gonna teleport over to the park close to home. We'll pick up there, see if there's any raids over there, because this phone's about to die and this camera probably isn't doing too well either. So we'll pick up there. So I just got home. I am absolutely soaked because it was pouring on the way home. There wasn't really much to do on the journey home. I caught a mudkip, a spoink, and I don't know, some sphels. None of them had good IVs. So overall, not the best day for catches. Failed a cloister raid too. Not the best results overall, only hatched 1 egg. But if you take away anything from this video, just remember that while it is very hard to play in cold weather, there's a lot of things that get limited. You can still have fun with the game. Just stay motivated, join a group chat, participate in that. Make sure you keep up your daily bonus streaks, because those are important for getting items and staying active in the game. And while you can't do as much during the winter when it's cold outside and you can't be outside for very long, you can still have fun with the game when you do play it. So I hope that made some sense. I hope my audio wasn't trash. I guess that's it for the day. I hope you enjoyed. Like the video if you did, and I will see you in the next one.